Good morning, good morning. It's a fine Saturday today. It's the 22nd of February 2025. I mistakenly said yesterday, Friday was the 20th, but that is not so. It was the 21st. So one has to be careful about giving the dates. There I made a mistake. I'm going to continue today with yet another video concerning teaching on biblical prophecy, specifically Revelations 13. I've been dealing with it for a few videos already. But just before I start, I'd like you to like or share the videos, and also to thank you for viewing the other previous videos. Remember, I talked about the two individuals in Revelations 13, the beast from the sea and the beast from the land or earth, and it refers to one is going to be a political leader, and the other is going to be more of a spiritual leader, and the spiritual leader is going to promote and compel people to support the Antichrist, the one from the sea. We looked at symbols, symbology in the book of Revelations, and I'm going to ask the question then, why would people in general understand symbols like the sea, the earth, and the beast as real images of a monster coming out of the ocean? This we saw in the past, where a lot of art pieces and pictures and drawings were based on that concept, which is of course incorrect. The answer would be to say because it won't occur to them that there's symbolic language at play. So this issue of language I just want to address quickly. At school we learn about different genres of literature. When we learn literature, and also the different tools that are used by the writers in the different genres, specifically poetry, where there's a lot of symbolic language used. We learn about, for instance, similes and metaphors, personification, onomatopoeia, and hyperbole, and the list goes on. All of that is sophisticated communication to share with the reader the different concepts and images that the writer wants to paint in words for the imagination to understand what is being said. So sophisticated communication is something that not everybody gets to understand. I would say even in today's world, a lot of the learners or students at schools struggle with symbolic language in specifically literature like poetry. In past ages, they used to have a subject at school where the students would learn what we call rhetoric language, and they would actually study it as a subject even. But be it as it may, that is the one reason for why the book of Revelations is so difficult, because most people can't actually get a grip of those symbols and symbolic language. So one has to realize, for instance, coming back to the book of Revelations, that John of Patmos was living in an age of chariots, horses, and donkeys, and how could he have described what he saw unless he had to use symbols also? Just to remind you, John of Patmos, why do we call him John of Patmos? It's because he is the apostle that was banished to the island of Patmos, And it's there that the Spirit of the Lord came to him and revealed revelations, which he then wrote as the book of Revelations. So John of Patmos, he couldn't understand what he saw because the age in which he lived didn't really compute. But I think he also got his clue or his links or his understanding from scripture, because remember the book of Daniel in the Old Testament was also used by the apostles, and even Jesus referred to scripture in his ministry. So the book of Daniel talks about kingdoms and about empires and so on, and of course the beast, and hence the reason why John of Patmos would use those same terms or symbols. Another idea also is why is the book of Revelation so difficult to understand is that one can also see it that God Himself, the Almighty, intended it to be so. Why would it be intended to be so? There's a scripture that says, "Those who diligently seek me will find me." So there's the element of diligently seeking God. Those who don't diligently seek God will not understand. So it's also a test that the scripture is in such a way. Another point also related to that is that God has got enemies on earth amongst mankind, and the book of Revelations is intended to be so that his enemies will not really fully understand or grasp what he intends to do. This is intended for the children of God who will become aware. So, coming back to this, hence the reason, for these reasons, I would say that the book of Revelations is full of such symbols. Jesus himself also taught in parables. Parables are like stories, so that his audiences then, at that time, would be able to understand. They won't understand in the physical, but they will understand spiritually his lessons. Hence, also he used the line. He'll say, "Those who have ears, let them hear; those who have eyes, let them see." So people have ears and eyes, but not all will spiritually understand what he's saying. So there's a spiritual battle that's going on, and it's been going on since way back when. It's ever been there. This battle. This is the reason why some people are misguided to think that God is not present or God doesn't care. But there's a spiritual battle going on. And I'll give you an example of what is closer to us. For instance, the new president of the United States of America, along with his advisor Elon Musk, are really churning up things quite dramatically there in the United States. Um, They're exposing a lot of the corruption and the wickedness of things that were happening during the Biden administration. Um, the Biden administration was mainly driven by the Democrats, and a lot of corruptions have been now exposed. And that I would say is part of the spiritual battle, because a lot of people could not understand what is going on, because they don't understand that it's a spiritual battle taking place. Um, and Trump is moving fast. He's banned men competing in women's sports. He's banned LGBTQ flag displayed in classrooms. He's banned the LGBTQ flag also at United States of America embassies across the world. And on federal buildings in the United States. He radically deals with Gaza and Ukraine, things that were not happening during the previous administration. He has managed to escalate and move forward at a rapid pace, and he's not even a couple of weeks in power. Um, Most of the prisoners or the people captured by Hamas in Gaza have been released with deals that have been being made. He's busy in Ukraine with Putin and Zelensky. So much of what the previous administration was doing is being undone, unpacked, and unraveled. Um, One would say the Democrats they strive on chaos, building chaos, and pushing to be like warmongers with arms, giving arms and giving money for causes that could be halted by more talks and negotiation. And we see also that the people that were living under the cush of that system of government are now emboldened. They're emboldened. See examples like the school boards. At the school boards, the parents are now openly challenging the school boards about their woke agendas, where they were confusing children with their genders, male and female, boy and girl, and allowing explicit sexual education to be exposed to young children in the schools. He put an immediate end to the drag shows for kids. I don't know if you heard about drag shows. That's also part of this agenda. And with the U.S. military, he has it's no longer allowed for transgender individuals to join the military, and those that are in the military, they are halting procedures associated with gender transition. So there's a lot of things that are moving very fast with this new administration, but it all illustrates that there is a spiritual battle taking place. And Trump is like a breath of fresh air, especially for people that were living under the cush of these corruptive policies. And but his enemies are growing faster. They're standing on the sidelines, seething with anger. I hope it's clear to you from the example that I've just given that there's a battle between good and evil, between right and wrong, between the pure and the dirty. And I'm the call this video side note 3 because it is dealing with Revelations 13, but the information I'm sharing is kind of just a filler up as a clarifying of certain issues that we come across in Revelations 13. So I'm going to wish you a wonderful weekend going forward.